doctors, your parents, the films and stories you grew up with, all of them misled you. They gave you the impression that after 60, a life without sex means something has ended, that it's tragic, that it's empty, that it means something inside you is damaged or missing. I believed that for a long time. My name is Emily. I am 75 years old, and I need to tell you something important. You were misled. I believed that for a long time. I truly thought there was something wrong with me, that I lacked something other women my age somehow understood, that I had missed a secret everyone else had figured out. But here is what I eventually discovered. Nothing was wrong with me at all. I simply had never been told the full story, and today I want to share that story with you, the honest one, the version people avoid, the one we should have heard decades ago. Stay with me, because this understanding changes everything. In the next few minutes, I'm going to talk about the things I wish someone had explained to me when I turned 60. I'm not a physician or a researcher. I'm just a woman who has lived through these years and come out on the other side feeling more awake, more present, and more alive than I ever expected to feel at this age. So whether you're 45, 60, 70, or 85, and wondering what the future really holds, this is for you. Let me ask you something. When you imagine getting older, what frightens you the most? For many people, it isn't illness. It isn't finances. It's the idea of being alone. And why does loneliness scare us so deeply? Because we were taught from a young age that intimacy and sex are the same thing. They are not. I carried that belief for most of my life. When my husband Robert passed away at our home in Santa Fe, I felt like an entire chapter of existence had closed. I thought warmth was over, closeness was over, the feeling of being wanted was over. And for a while it truly felt that way. But that feeling wasn't the truth. It was just a story I had absorbed from culture, from movies, from quiet social expectations that no one ever questioned. Once I realized that, my perspective began to shift. Let me be honest, though. Yes, the body changes after 60. Movements slow, sensations change. Some things don't respond the way they once did. People avoid this conversation, but I won't. Hormones shift, desire shifts, energy shifts. And for women especially, no one prepares you for how still everything can feel inside, how different your inner world becomes. Here's what many people do in response. They resist. They feel embarrassed. They assume something is broken. They hide what they're experiencing. But what if you stopped fighting it? What if, instead, you listened to what your body was communicating? Because it isn't saying you're finished. It's saying, I need something new now. And that message isn't an ending. It's the opening line of another chapter. Here's what I've learned. The lessons that surprised me most. First, loneliness has very little to do with sex. It has everything to do with being seen. When I was younger, I equated closeness with physical connection. But later, I discovered that the deepest form of closeness comes from being truly understood by a friend, by a relative, even by yourself. That sense of being known does not disappear with age. It simply changes shape, and sometimes it grows even deeper. Second, pleasure doesn't vanish. It relocates. In youth, pleasure is intense, fast, almost overwhelming. Later in life, it softens. It becomes gentle, quieter, but still very real. You just learn to find it in different places. Steam rising from a mug of tea on a cold morning, sunlight resting on your skin, a long, unhurried talk with someone who cares, music that brings tears for reasons you can't fully explain. these experiences nourish you more than you would have believed. Third, you are never too old to desire things. Society whispers, "You've had your time, step aside, be satisfied with less." That is not the truth. You are still allowed to want happiness. You are still allowed to seek love. You are still allowed to feel vibrant and engaged with life. I didn't fully understand this until my late 60s, and I often wish I had realized it decades earlier. Fourth, being alone is not the same as being lonely. This changed my life. After Robert died, I was by myself. Yes, but I was not always lonely. There were mornings in my small courtyard garden where I sat with my coffee, listening to birds, feeling so calm and complete that I thought, this is enough. This moment, exactly as it is enough. Fifth, and perhaps most important, is releasing the old script. We all carry an internal timeline, what life should look like at each age. But what if that script was written by someone else? What if it never truly belonged to you? What if you could create a new one? I did at 79, and it is the most freeing decision I ever made. What does my life look like today? Nothing like I once imagined. I wake up without that heavy sense of loss. Friends call just to talk. I take short trips. I attend local art classes. Recently, I started learning watercolor painting, something I never gave myself time for before. I laugh easily. I cry at films. Sometimes I sit in the sun doing absolutely nothing and feel deeply connected, not to one person in one role, but to life itself. That possibility was never described to me. So here is what I hope you remember. Life after 60, after the forms of closeness you once relied on begin to change, is not smaller. It is not sadder. It is simply different. And different does not mean worse. It can be fuller, quieter, more truthful than anything you have known before. I lost years being afraid of this stage of life, years that could have been lived more openly. Please don't repeat that mistake. The real truth, the one rarely spoken aloud, is that some of the most meaningful, beautiful parts of my life began after the things I thought defined happiness had faded. If this video resonated even a little, share it. Not for my sake, but for someone who may be sitting alone right now believing their story is over. It isn't, and they deserve to know that. Thank you for being here and for listening. I'll see you next time.